Check. Here we are. Let me turn something off here. Let me turn this on. Here we go. The reason I was late was because I was making coffee. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Joining in from Jamaica, our friend Alista, as always on X, but also watching on YouTube. There you go. Good evening from the Netherlands. Absolutely. So the reason I went on at 1 o'clock today, because I was down at we had our 4th of July parade on the local main street down here. So I went down like I normally do and I filmed that. And I put up a little preview. So we'll see how that goes. And then I'll do the full version for July the 3rd because the 28th of June is not really July the 4th. So we'll see. I just threw it together in Final Cut Pro real quick and put up a quick version. How's everybody doing today so far? Saturday, not July yet. Saturday, June 28th. Generally June 28th. So good evening from Beauharnois, Quebec, something like that. And I think Final Cut Pro is going to be on vacation for the rest of the summer. Usually they call it the dog days of summer in this part of the country, and I can guarantee you that's pretty much what's going to be happening for the most part. Had a crash undoing a magnetic mast, then trying to make a replacement on the same clip. Very interesting. There's our friend Ben. Hello, Richard. Got me a second rehomed GSD, and now I'm back to two of these little bundles of chaos. Very crazy household now, but I love it. So, second rehomed GSD. What is that, Ben? Second rehomed GSD. Is you talking about a dog? You talking about, is the D a dog? Rehomed dog, something. This is probably, there's been some reports on forums about VO recording not working. I assume there's a bug fix coming eventually. Well, they just had one bug fix. German Shepherd. GSD is German Shepherd. I knew the D was dog. I love German Shepherds. They're one of my favorite breeds. I love all dogs. Any dog, any cat, I love them all. If I was going to adopt in a shelter, I would go to the oldest dog or cat, the one that nobody wants. I want them. Those are the ones that I would go for right off the bat. The ones that have been there the longest, the ones that everybody's overlooking. No, that's where I'm going. Give them a good home for the most part anyway. So I haven't heard of any crashes on Final Cut Pro 11.1.1. Well, I had a question. We had our Final Cut Pro birthday celebration last week. Was it last week, I think? Do we start over? So it's been 14 years since Final Cut Pro 10, but the last 9 months have been Final Cut Pro 11. So do we start over with Final Cut Pro 11, or do we just continue? From the original date the Final Cut Pro 10 came out, which was June 21st, 2021. Both from shelter, of course. Of course. That much I knew. All of our cats that we have been rescues. At one point, we had half a dozen or more rescue cats here, but we have a very big house. Very big house, and it's very, very clean. So the cat boxes are attended to every day, if not twice a day. So it's always been fine around here. So Final Cut, the bug fix. So 11.1.2 will be a bug fix, it sounds like. I'm sure that's coming up. Jan from Denmark. Unfortunately, it seems like my Final Cut Pro has gone on vacation as well. I get way more spinning beach balls recently than I had before. The latest update, processor, and memory in the green. So here's what I recommend, Jan. Try a new project with new media. It's usually the most common things are a plugin that's incompatible or media that's incompatible. So I'll give you an example. if I download a video from YouTube, or Facebook is worse. If I download a video from Facebook and drop it into Final Cut Pro, beach ball, beach ball, beach ball. So I take that video, open it up in QuickTime, and export a brand new version of it, and that version plays fine. So my point is, if you're having beach balls, make a new project with new media and see if that helps. I think Final Cut Pro before AI and with AI. There you go. It's a good point. 11 isn't a very drastic change, so I'm counting that from the start of 10. That's just me. That's what I figured too. That's what I figured. This is the second iteration of Final Cut Pro 10, starting with 10, going to 11. But I just wanted to check with everybody. We counted 1 to 7 without resetting its birthday. That's absolutely correct. We sure did. Now we call that Final Cut Pro Classic, of course. Let's see what's going on in that backyard. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful green. Everything's green. We've had enough rain around here. That's for sure. Very green. It is. Well, we had enough rain over the last 5 or 6 weeks. And it still seems that it rains every week, a little, at least some. Anything in your garden at the moment? Yes. We have some red tomatoes that they will be picked, and I will film that for Jane's Garden World. She's the main gardener around here. I'm doing my first harvest off my huge fig tree today. Time to make jam. There you go. I like figs. They're very sweet, although I'm trying to limit my sugar intake right now for dietary reasons, which is normal for me this time of the year, summertime. Let me just pull this up. Why is that over there? Stream Deck. Come on, Stream Deck. There you go. I got the wrong version of Stream Deck loaded, I see. I got to switch to this one. Now I can do, this. That's what I was trying to do. Hardware button. Ben says he's pre-diabetic, so having a prolific fig tree does not help. It has figs have a lot of sugar in them. Prunes do, all that stuff, all that fruit. Watermelon, grapes, cantaloupe. I don't know about cantaloupe, but I love that stuff. Apples, some of the apples have a lot of sugar in them. Oranges, of course, do. So they're not really on my diet. I'm a low-carb guy for the most part. Now, if we indeed have a Final Cut Pro Creative Summit again this year, 2025, we got to make sure Bradley Olson gets there because he provided us with bakery fresh donuts last year. They were the best. They were like still warm. I went down to the lobby one morning. Brad was over there with a bunch of boxes of donuts, and he called me over and he says, "You got to try some of these." And I picked up one. And it was like still warm, and it was so good. So we're going to make sure he gets there with those donuts this year. So, are you aware of Companion Buddy? No, I'm not. Inexpensive LED small Wi-Fi tally light that has a command library inside of the Companion app. I'm not familiar with that. Tell us more about it, Ben. I just used the focus fix option in Topaz Lab on a video, which was a little bit out of focus. I liked the after result, but not the time it took on my 16-inch M1 Pro. Yeah, Topaz is really, really good, but boy, it takes about up to 4 times real time. But the results are really, really good. I mean, I do I did some SD footage that I had and upscaled it. And when I upscale it, I just do twice the resolution. Noise reduction and stuff. They have all kind of different settings in the algorithm you can choose. But I always upscale it to 2 times resolution. Maybe not at 1080p, but anything below 720p, I'll double it. SD, I'll double it. 4K, I don't double it. 4K just stays the same. I might double 1080p sometimes. It depends on what I'm doing. Most of my broadcasts are, most of my editing is done in a 1080p timeline inside of Final Cut. Even if all my cameras are set to 4K 30, but I still edit them in a 1080p timeline because I have more options for zooming in and stuff. So, I sold some stuff on Facebook Marketplace locally this week. I sold a Fender Champion amp, and I sold my Action 4 Pro. I have the Action 5 Pro, DJI Action 5 Pro, but I sold my DJI Action 4. I sold the Champion amp. I sold something else. So what else did I sell? I still got my Osmo. I still got my Insta360 gimbal that's for sale. What else did I sell? Something else I sold. I sold like 3 things this week. I just sell locally. I don't get involved with YouTube. With eBay. They're horrible. They charge 10%, plus there's always issues. Getting companion buddy lights for the church I work for as camera signal lights for music directors. Reads camera changes from our ATM Mini Pro so we can use them as tally lights. I see what you're saying. No, I'm not familiar with that, but I am familiar with coffee. There we go. I had the wrong setting on my Apollo Twin X. Ben says coffee, yes. And now, people that know me, this is, I always grind my coffee right before I make it, fresh beans, and I like it strong, but I do add cream to it, so it is creamed. It is very creamy, but it is very strong. What's your favorite SDX brand and class types? I go with the V60 typically. The types, whatever's on sale, whatever brand name is on sale on Amazon. Speaking of Amazon, so we had power outage. What night was it? Today's Saturday. It wasn't last night. Thursday night. Thursday night we had a neighbor's tree fell and took our power line out. It was early in the morning because I heard the tree. I heard the tree fall, and then the power went out. So I pulled out my old trusty generator. I have an old 5500 5550 watts, running watts Generac, an old one. Let me get back to that. Richard, do you have the multicam option for LumaFusion, and can you do live switching on it while filming or only after the fact by creating a multicam container? I do have the multicam option for LumaFusion. No, that's after the fact. It's after the fact. You have to put it in a container, as far as I know. I like it a lot. Their multicam is better than Final Cut iPad's multicam. It's very sophisticated. It's very easy. I paid one time $29. For years now, there's been no additional charge. There's no rental. Now, the other thing is they had it for sale. I'm not sure why. They dropped it to $9.99 for a while. Sometimes they'll drop it from $29 to $19, like at NAB or Black Friday sales. But for some reason, they dropped it to $9.99 one time this year. $9.99 for LumaFusion? Come on. That's 2 months rent of Final Cut on the iPad. Steel, and I mentioned it. I mentioned it on the live streams. I mentioned it on Facebook. I mentioned it on X. Did you see the article about F1, the movie, using iPhone cameras put into F1 compliant bodies to film car interiors? Yes, I did. They had a whole bunch. Oh, and F1, the movie. No, I did not. No, I did not. Not for F1. I'm talking about that other movie that used like 30 iPhone cameras. No, I did not. That's interesting because a lot of times they used to put GoPros in those cars. So I guess now they're using iPhones. Very, very interesting. Let me just see what's going on. I got LumaFusion at that price, still haven't used it though. I understand. I understand completely. Alyssa says Motion VFX is having a sale as long as it's not subscription. If they're doing that subscription thing, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in any subscription from these plugin manufacturers. I do a couple of subscriptions that I decide to do. They're easy to get in and out of. I'm not doing subscriptions for plugins. Ain't going to do it. Don't need your plugin that bad. Plus, the prices have gone way, way up. Some of these plugins are just crazy with the prices. I'm not paying that either. I'm not updating. I'm not doing anything. I have thousands of plugins. I don't mean individual plugins. I mean, that includes multi-packs, like there's 10 or 12 plugins in a pack. When I say thousands. I'm not, if you got subscriptions, I'm not interested. So Final Cut Pro does not auto-translate captions to a foreign language, and in Intel, Assistant plugin doesn't include Swedish. It's 2025, isn't it? Sheesh. Yeah, but Final Cut Pro is completely dependent on Mac OS for which languages it supports. They're not independent. Whatever Mac OS supports, that's what Final Cut Pro supports. So if the language is not available in Mac OS natively, it's not going to be available in Final Cut Pro. Also, have you a few brands for HDDs or RAIDs you prefer, and do you still format HDDs in HFS Plus, not HPFS? Because many say it's intended for SSD. It depends on what I'm doing. No, a new SSD I'll do the modern version. I'll do APFS for SSDs. RAIDs, economical RAIDs that I trust use spinning hard drives. I do whatever the RAID manufacturer tells me to do for those. But SSDs are pretty much, at this point, APFS. And then if you want to use it on the iPhone, Apple's all over the place. First they said HFS Plus or APFS, and then they said, oh, no, you have to do exFAT. Was it iPhone 16 or iPhone 15? They said you have to format, if you're going to use it with the phone, you got to use exFAT. What? You're all over the place, Apple. Make up your mind. I did a video about that. I was shocked. I'm considering subscribing for Final Cut for iPad due to the ability to switch between phones, but not before I've added an extra iPhone to my setup, and that will, at earliest, be next year. Fingers crossed that the feature will be added to the Mac version before that. Which feature are you talking about being added? Let me go back. Multicam. He's talking about live multicam. Yeah, that's a pretty cool feature if you're doing like studio stuff on the iPad between the Mac version. Listen, I don't like subscriptions. I'm not going to subscribe to most things. However, if the iPad version of a subscription is absolutely the best, number one, it's cheap, $4.99 a month, $4.99 a month, or get it by the year for less than that. Number two, so it's very inexpensive, which is a big positive. Number two, you can stop the subscription easily on any time, anytime. You just go into your phone in your iCloud settings under subscriptions and you cancel it. So you don't have to let it run perpetually. I've heard horror stories about trying to get out of Adobe subscriptions for years. How much of a horror story it is, even to the point where they threaten you with, oh no, early subscription cancellation fee. We're going to charge you $79 if you cancel. Utter nonsense. Adobe's the worst. Adobe subscription is a ransom. I would never support their subscription model. I checked Motion VFX site and it's all subscriptions for Final Cut Pro plugins. Okay, well, let me give you this. That's for the subscriptions for Motion VFX. No way. I am not going to subscribe to any of their stuff. Zero Motion VFX, zero. I'm not interested in your subscription model. You're too expensive, and I'm not going to subscribe to any of your plugins. Period. Not a single one. Ben says Motion VFX has lost it. I'll never buy from them again. I absolutely agree. He said that's way expensive, especially for us here in the Caribbean. So I'm not going to subscribe to Motion VFX for any reason. And I'm not going to ever recommend them. Your prices are outrageous. Your subscription model is horrible. Way too much money. I'm not interested in that. I am going to lead the charge against subscriptions. For the most part, I don't care about subscriptions from a small company like Intelligent Assistance, Lumberjack Systems. That's a different thing. I don't mind those things, and I don't mind. I have a subscription for Ecamm Live. I have a subscription for a couple of other things. What else do I have subscription for? A couple of my apps are subscription-based, but like Topaz Video AI, it's a subscription. Do I have a perpetual license for that? I think I actually do have a perpetual license. I just don't get updates until I resubscribe. That's okay. That's okay. What I hate is the way that Adobe does it, and you have to pay the subscription for every month. There's a ransom on your Adobe products. And I think Motion VFX is the same way. If you cut a film a year ago and you use Motion VFX plugins, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is the way it works. If you cut a project a year ago and you use Motion VFX plugins, if you stop the subscription, those plugins don't work on the project from a year ago. That is complete and utter hogwash. Complete and utter hogwash. There's no way I would deal with that. Once again, the iPad version of Final Cut is very reasonable. $4.99 a month. You can stop and start the subscription very easily. Very reasonable. Now, for the Logic version, I don't agree. $4.99 a month is too much for Logic on the iPad. Just pay the price and get it on the Mac. It's much better. I don't need Logic on the iPad. Although Logic has a cool remote control iPad app that Final Cut, to this day, Final Cut doesn't have an iPad app. I mean a control app like Logic does. Logic has a very, very cool, they've had it for years, remote control app that's free to do the interface of Logic Pro. Final Cut still doesn't have anything like that. But anyway, so if there's bugs in 11.1, then I expect 11.1.1, then I expect 11.1.2 very well could be a bug fixed. Final Cut Pro, Adobe Affinity Suite of Apps, Pixelmator Pro, one-time perpetual cost, and a fraction of a few months, exactly, a few months of Adobe Suite. It's the Adobe model that I hate. They don't listen to their customers. If they listened to their customers, many of their customers want a perpetual license. But they're not listening to their customers. They don't give them that option. You're not listening to your customers. What kind of a business model is that? I'm anticipating transcription for Final Cut Pro in November. I would think that very likely could be like one of the number one things that they have. Saw somewhere that Mac OS 26 will no longer support FireWire, so I will need an older version if I want to transfer the tapes that I had not transferred before my Canon X8A1S tape deck broke. Well, between my MacBook Pro and my Mac Mini Pro, I have 2 or 3 boot up options. So I have the older version of the OS, so it will use FireWire because I already did it. I did it on my Mac Mini. I did a whole thing this year of Final Cut Pro and FireWire. So it works on Sequoia. Is that what we're on? About this Mac. Sequoia. So it does work in Sequoia on my Mac Mini Pro. I will never get rid of that partition. I will always be able to boot into Sequoia. So if I need to do a FireWire, I can. And it's very easy to, is it a partition? It's a volume. I think it's a volume thing. You don't do partitions anymore. I forget what. But I have Sequoia. I have 2 other Mac OSs going back that I can boot into my Mac Mini Pro and also my MacBook Pro. I will be able to capture FireWire forever because I'm not going to eliminate those. Plus, I have an original MacBook Pro that has FireWire 800 ports on it. But you're absolutely correct. I read that too. Anybody have a preferred cloud system about any cloud for a collaborative workflow using? I don't know about collaborative workflow. So you think we'll get Final Cut Pro 11.2 after hurricane season? That's about how we measure time down here during the summer months as we are in hurricane season. It's a southern thing. I understand, especially Florida. I've been to Florida. I have relatives in Florida. There's no way that I could move to Florida and be comfortable with hurricane season every year. No. I'd build a house or something, have a house, and it can be wiped out, completely gone or flooded or whatever. No, I couldn't deal with that every year. We occasionally get a hurricane or a bad tornado up here, but it's random. It's not like a season like it is in Florida. Yes, I think we'll get 11.2 at the Creative Summit unless they steal 11.2 and give us some new features between now and the Creative Summit. In that case, the Creative Summit will be 11.3. They're just all over the place with their update names for Final Cut Pro now. There's no rhyme or reason. They just throw things up in the air. Let's name it this. This is what they do when a Final Cut Pro team names Final Cut Pro update. Whatever. Plugins like the Enhancer Pro have increased in price from $199 to $549 for a lifetime license. I think is quite expensive for plugin. There's no way. Final Cut Pro is $299. Don't even worry about that nonsense. Protest, don't give the plugin manufacturers that kind of money. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. The only reason they're doing that is to make you subscribe, try to get you to subscribe. Oh, you want a perpetual license? We'll show you a perpetual license. That's all they're doing. That's the only thing that they're doing. Don't listen to them. Don't support them. They're completely off my map. I'm not the least bit interested in them. I'm not interested in their high-priced subscriptions. I'm not interested in their subscriptions that stop working after you stop paying the monthly ransom. Do it like what did I just say before? Topaz Video AI. When my current upgrade license expires, the app still works and I can still use it as long as I want. Same with Waves plugins. Waves tried to do a subscription only overnight, and boy, they were lambasted and had to go back to just the way they do things. When my Waves plugins can't be updated, they still work. The version that I have still works. The whole system doesn't stop working, even though I don't use them that much. Even though Apple is slow at updates, that's an understatement, Alistair. That's an understatement. I'd rather Final Cut Pro 10 times over Premiere. Premiere's not so stable on the Mac, and the performance is not good. I'm not going to disagree with that. When you grow up with hurricanes, it's just a normal part of life. I completely understand that. It's exciting, especially living directly on the ocean like I do. Face blue, wide. Now, listen, if you grew up in Florida, it's one thing. I have relatives down there. I'm up here outside of Baltimore and Washington on the East Coast. Once in a great while, we'll get a hurricane, but not that often. Once every 5-10 years, we'll have a hurricane threat. I can deal with that. And I have a brick house. My house and I have a full basement underground. And so I'm pretty well, I do have trees around. I'm pretty well protected from hurricanes and tornadoes, unless it was a direct hit of some sort. And in that case, you know what you do. Kiss your butt goodbye. At the Creative Summit, we saw a demo from a Move. Definitely worth checking out for collaborative workflows. There you go. That's a great recommendation. That's our friend Sam Messman. I think he's the CEO of that company. I'm considering a cloud-based backup service for my Mac. Have any suggestions? I absolutely Backblaze. It's phenomenal. It's $100 a year, unlimited storage. I have a 56 terabyte RAID that's backed up on Backblaze. Now, it's not for collaboration, it's for backing up. $99, I think it's $99 a year, unlimited storage. Whatever you connect to your Mac that has the license can be uploaded to Backblaze. Now, it takes, like any other backup storage thing, it takes a while. I think it does 250 gigabytes a day is about the speed if you leave it plugged in for 24 hours. It's absolutely, I love it. Well, yes, I get it every year because that's one of my backup strategies is back it up in the cloud. So it backs up everything. Anything you plug in, your Mac has the license. Whatever you plug into that Mac can be backed up. And I think it's $99 a year lets you, it'll keep that thing backed up for a year if you don't, unless you update it. Every time you update it, it's good for another year of backup. It'll be backed up. The other good thing about Backblaze, I have no affiliation with them. If you have you can download stuff, of course. Takes a long time. If you have suppose you had 8 terabytes of stuff, they will send your data on an 8 terabyte hard drive, spinning hard drive, for like $250 or $299. They'll mail it to you. You download the material from the hard drive, and if you send the hard drive back and it's in good shape, they'll refund the $299. They will refund the $299 or $250, whatever the heck it is. It's great. It's a great service. I highly recommend them. Since the last time I had to use Topaz, they had released 6 upgrades, which I could download as I decided to purchase the latest upgrade at a discount a few months ago. Absolutely. So what I do is something like Topaz and Waves. I don't update every year. I update every other year, and I wait for a sale. So right now my Topaz is long expired, but I can still use the version that I have. I'll wait 6 months or a year, wait for a sale, then I'll go ahead and upgrade again and get another year of updates. And then at the end of the year, I'll probably wait another year after that. That's just the way I do it. Or just like BCC, Boris Continuum, you can choose. Software developers made a profit on perpetual licenses for decades. How are they suddenly not making a profit off it? As they claim now, I can't follow the logic. Well, if they gave you a reasonable perpetual license price, not going from $199 to $549, that is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous upgrade price. You're just trying to gouge your customers. If they gave you the option of a reasonable perpetual license or a reasonable subscription, that's fine. But they're not. They're giving you an unreasonable subscription price, through the roof prices, and they're giving you jumping from $199 to $549 for a perpetual license. Hogwash. That's complete hogwash. I'd never support a company that did that. How to do Final Cut Pro and work as a team, you must use or create a NAS first. I'm on the Louisiana coast. My sisters are on the Florida Atlantic coast. We have bets who gets the most hurricane threats each year. I think Florida wins that. Maybe not. Maybe not. Cocoa here. I love cocoa. Thanks, Richard. That looks like a plan I can deal with. Backblaze looks very nice. I've been using them for years. I got the 1-year license. It was $99 for the year. Unlimited upload. Now, it takes you, like I said, to upload. I think it does 250 gigabytes a day is their limit. That's transfer speed. Download, I don't know. But the idea is if you ever needed like 8 gigabytes, you can get a hard drive sent to you. You give them, let them charge your credit card. Once you send the hard drive back, you get refunded. Get it refunded. So it's really, really good service. I do Topaz like you, but every 3 years, wait for the sale. Great software. I agree. I don't need it perpetually. The version I have, it's frozen at that level. Keeps working, keeps working, keeps working. A year from now, when I see a sale, or 6 months from now, because it's already been 6 months, I'll pick it up, get another year of updates, and then stop at the end of the year. And same with my Waze plugins. I take my coffee as dark chocolate covered espresso beans. That's a great, great snack. Dark chocolate is really, really good. And I can eat dark chocolate because it has very low carbs. It's just a little bit of carbs. And I love dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate. It's my favorite form of chocolate. So I have not heard anything as of Friday. I don't check my email on the weekends. But as of Friday, I have not heard anything about the Creative Summit one way or the other. Basically, what I heard, and I really can't say anything, I suppose there's going to be a Creative Summit. That's my supposition. It was very successful last year. It was the best Creative Summit ever. It just was, for a lot of reasons, for the Final Cut Pro team and their presentation. We'll give them applause right now. They did a great job. Future Media Conferences, I can't say enough good things about them putting on the Creative Summit. It's not their biggest moneymaker, but Apple does contribute a lot now to keep that going. Got to get to work. Great show as always. See you next week, Richard. Thank you very much, Ben. And the info in the Backblaze is fantastic. Everybody have a good weekend. Peace. Absolutely, Ben. Take care down there in Louisiana. Keep those hurricanes at bay. Speaking of hurricanes, I started this story a little while ago. So we had an oak tree fall on our power lines in the middle of the night. Power went out. I finally got my Generac 5,055 watt generator. That's the steady watt output running, plugged it into the house, and I had coffee and I had lights and stuff. And I don't power my main AC unit, but I did power I have a window unit that I powered that to keep the bedroom cool. So I bought a second window unit now. So I have two. So if something goes out, I could run them different places to keep the upstairs cool. We don't worry about the downstairs. But anyway, I had a little trouble getting this Generac to fire up. It's a pull start. So I went out and bought a brand new Champion generator. It's I think it's 7250 steady watts, 7,250 steady watts, which is about 60 amperes on 120 volts, 60 amp. That's coming Wednesday. I ordered a different one first. I ordered one, this is from Home Depot. I ordered a larger one. I think it was 9,000 steady watts, not the peak, but the 9,000. And then I started looking at different comments and reviews. These generators have very dirty electricity. They have very high THD, total harmonic distortion. It's high. I think in Maryland, they expect between 5 and 10% off of the normal electric line. These generators put out 10 to 20% total harmonic distortion on their power line. So I said, I took that one back. I didn't even open it. I loaded it up. The guys on the truck loaded it up for me in my RAV4 as soon as they delivered it, and I put it in the back and took it to Home Depot and returned it. I got the 7,250 steady output watts inverter, an open frame inverter. The total harmonic distortion is less than 3%. So that's the one I got coming next week. I'm pretty excited about it. It's an electric start. It takes it'll run on 3 different types of fuel: gasoline, natural gas, and what's the other kind of gas that runs on propane? It runs on all 3 types of fuel. It's got, it'll run 14 hours straight on a tank of gas. So it's coming Tuesday. I'm pretty excited about it, but it's electric start. It's battery operated. Just press a button and it starts up. So that's fantastic. I got a Champion log splitter to take care of splitting logs. I'm still using it. I had problems with it over a period of 1 or 2 years. Champion is the best company out there to take care of tech support. You can talk to a real person. They'll stay on the line with you for a half hour or an hour trying to get things working. They'll send you parts. This is if it's under warranty, of course. And they have a 3-year warranty. So it's really excellent company. You talk to people. You can get a real person online if you have problems, an issue. No problem sending you parts. I got a new motor for my log splitter under warranty because they couldn't figure out what was wrong. So I got that coming. Do you have or suggest a UPS? I have one, and all I did, Daniel, was went on Amazon, looked for one that's highly rated with a dependable company that has all the features that I need. I have one right here running my Mac Mini, my MacBook Pro, my monitors, my RAID. It runs my RAID when my RAID is plugged in. So, yes, I do. I hope Apple will enable easier access to their AI features on their processors so companies like Topaz can speed up their magic on Mac, Topaz on Windows machines with, yes, I understand. I hope they do too. They're being very cautious with AI, which is good. We've all seen Terminator, right? We've all seen Terminator. What's the other one? The other one when they had the Cylons, the other series. That blonde Cylon robot, I forget what her name is. Is it something Babylon? I can't remember. We've all seen those movies. We know what happens with AI. Battlestar Galactica, that's it. I love that series. That was a great series. Starbuck, that blonde Starbuck, one of the pilots, I loved her character. I forget what her name is, the actress's name, but I loved her character. And of course, the robot, the blonde robot, Cylon robot was really good as well. But yeah, Battlestar Galactica. We've all seen what happens with AI when it gets too far. It's got to be a kill switch that only humans can do. We had a power outage last week that lasted 2 days, and all my neighbors had generators. It was extremely noisy. It felt like being on a construction site. I completely understand that, but when my power goes out, I'm starting my generator. Neighbors, I don't have neighbors that are that close. Across, we have a driveway that goes in between 3 houses, but it goes back all the way back. So I'm sorry, as a matter of fact, I ordered a 50-foot, I connected to my house. It's got a locking twist that connects to the house. And I just got a 50-foot cord that I can get it further away, like around back, so it's not near my garage, which faces my neighbor. But when I need power, here's the deal. If power is going to be connected within 2 hours, I usually don't pull the generator out and start it up. But after 2 hours or longer, the refrigerator doesn't hold things. The main thing is the refrigerator doesn't hold things cold. So food will spoil after a certain time period. So I give it a 2-hour window. If everything's fine, I won't start the generator up. After 2 hours, the 2-hour limit, I'll start the generator up, at least to get the refrigerator back being cold. Now, here's the other thing. If I haven't had my coffee, I haven't heated the water, I haven't ground the beans, that generator is going to be started up, I guarantee you. Now, I can heat the water on our barbecue. We have a gas barbecue out back that has a burner on it. So I can heat the water on the barbecue without electricity. But if my beans aren't ground, I'm starting the generator up if I want coffee. That's just the way it is. Katie Sackhoff. That's her name. Starbuck. Yeah, I really, really liked her character. She, as a matter of fact, Battlestar Galactica, everybody was saying, frack me. F-R-A-Q me. Frack me. Frack me this, frack me that, instead of the other F word. So when I was watching that series, I went and got frack@me.com, FRAQ@me.com. From iCloud. I got that, FRAQ@me.com. So frackme.com because of that. Frack. I have it spelled F-R-A-Q. F-R-A-Q. That's just the way I spelled it. Just to be a little different. I also have FCPX@me.com. I got that a long time ago. FCPX@me.com. I have that too. So how's everybody doing out there? What time is it? It's 2 o'clock. I'm okay. I've got I'm alive. Do you remember the Terminator, The Rise of the Machine with the Deadly Blonde? I watched all the Terminator movies. I loved Terminator. So the Deadly Blonde, was she one of the robots that came back? I love Terminator. It's one of my favorite series. I even watched the TV series. It was really, really good. Here's our friend Roz at Inspire Media. How you doing, Roz? Glad you could tune in today. Give you a thumbs up for that. Let's see what's going on in the backyard. Not much. And I'm going to mention this as well. I've mentioned it on social media all week. So podcasting started in iTunes 20 years ago. podcasting 20 years ago. Okay? When Steve Jobs added podcasts to iTunes, it was 20 years ago, June. Right? It was. I started podcasting before Steve Jobs added podcasts to iTunes. I started my podcast in March, 100% because of Adam Curry, who had the first real podcast, and he invented podcasting. So he started in August the year before. I started my first podcast in March. In June is when Steve Jobs added podcasting to iTunes. Okay? This is why I'm telling you that. The 1-year anniversary, iTunes, Apple had a 1-year anniversary of the birthday of adding podcasts to iTunes. 1-year anniversary, 1 year later. Look whose podcast was included. Mine. Honored by Apple as one of 52, they did 52 podcasts, 52, one for each week, out of over 10,000 podcasts at the time. Okay? Not bad. Let me just do this. Let me pull this on top. 10,000 at the time for the first birthday for podcasting on iTunes, and mine was included. Mine was one of the 52 that were included by Apple, first birthday podcasting on iTunes. Now, that podcast, I don't do it. I still keep it updated once or twice a year, but I don't do it that much because there's a lot of reasons. I don't have the time. I used to do it every week. Every Saturday, I'd spend 8 hours getting music, doing a podcast, and putting it out. But I started over 20 years ago. In those days, that podcast would get 5,000 to 10,000 downloads a week. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And I just kind of went over more toward Final Cut Pro and other things. I don't have time or the inclination to do that one anymore. I do it once or twice a year to keep it going. But yes, she was the bad Terminator and Arnold, the good Terminator from the future. I remember Arnold as the switch from the bad to the good. I remember that. He was good in all those. I'll have to go back and see that. Congrats, Richard. Thank you very much. That's something I was doing a podcast before Apple added it to iTunes. It's all because of Adam Curry. He used to be the DJ, the VJ on MTV. Headbangers Ball, I think it was. But he invented podcasting. He's the guy that invented, not Adam Carolla, who I also like. I like Adam Carolla's show a lot. He is not the podfather. Adam Curry is the podfather. He invented podcasting. Daily Source Code was the podcast that he had August, whatever that was, 21 years ago. So I've been podcasting a long time. Anything else going on in the world of Final Cut Pro? I'm waiting. Within a month or so, maybe in July, we'll hear about the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit definitively with dates. All the details won't be available, but I think they will at least give us the dates. Whatever future media conferences tell me I can talk about, I will announce to you. I don't know. I'm going to presume it's going to be in November. It could be early December. Who the heck knows? It won't be Thanksgiving week, obviously. It won't be right before or right after Thanksgiving, but it could be usually the first or second week of November. It could be any day of the week except for probably not Sunday. It could be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It could be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It depends on Apple's schedule and FMC's schedule. I presume we're going to have one this year, and I also presume that once they email me, they'll say, here's this information, here's that information. You can share this information. Don't share that information, which I absolutely 100% will do. But I'm thinking we might get another update to Final Cut Pro. If there's bugs, I'm sure we'll get a bug fix update, which will be 11.1.2. Maybe they'll slip a feature or two in there as well. Maybe. We'll have to see. I don't know. The bigger update will be in November at the Creative Summit, probably, with 11.2 or 11.3, whatever the heck they go with. Final Cut Pro 11, some tutorials show using the magnetic mask to do color correction or color grading. Wow, yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That was one of the main things. The future media conferences, all the attendees, I would have to say there's 150 attendees plus staff, plus the Final Cut Pro people. I had lunch with a few of them last year. Team, people associated at the Juniper Hotel, which is the best place to do it. And it's expensive, so the price went up. I want to buy a cameo of Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, I have this terrible pain in all the diodes down my left side. I like Arnold. He's as wooden and stiff as his acting is. He's a very funny actor. I liked him in that. I liked him in the other science fiction movies that he's been in. But I loved him in Terminator, all the Terminators. I like every one. What's the one about the future and he had a mask on and stuff? It was weird going to other planets. I liked him in that one too. True something or something true. I forget what it was. One of the Arnold Schwarzenegger fans will let me know what's going on there. Got a lot of people watching today, as usual. We will continue. Look, my plan is to do these every Saturday. There's not really anything to talk about. There's nothing new that's really to talk about with Final Cut Pro. Until the Creative Summit, that's a total recall. See, nobody knows a lot of stuff. I like having him on. Total Recall was a great science fiction movie. I really liked Arnold in that one. So, yeah, Terminator, I really like Terminator. The whole series. They had a TV series, Sarah Connor. I loved it. I loved it. Two weeks. 2 weeks for what? 2 weeks for Final Cut Pro? Arnold changed the world with his famous, I'll be back. Yes, that was famous. And then Clint Eastwood had, go ahead, make my day. He said, go ahead, make my day. The liquid steel guy in Terminator was awesome. He was superb. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant writing and ideas and stuff. That liquid like mercury, yes. He was really, really good. He was quite a character to go after Arnold, because Arnold was big and bulky, but the liquid guy was... I like Terminator. Absolutely. And I like Arnold. I like Arnold too. So I'm going to plan on keep coming back here. Where there's nothing to talk about in Final Cut Pro, we'll find something else to talk about. I'm used to doing these Saturday shows now. My upstairs studio here is all set up. All I have to do is turn lights on there, turn overhead backlighting on. Sometimes I have to adjust a few things. But it's easy for me to set up. The Mac Mini Pro is phenomenal. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Go ahead and bring up subjects and we'll see. Oh, line from Total Recall on the mask. Okay. 2 weeks. Is that what he says? Yeah, I have to watch that again now after I've been watching it. I just saw something when he was going through customs or whatever, and the mask started malfunctioning and they almost got him. I really like that. These effects can now be done in a laptop, but at the time require massive computing. Absolutely. So Arnold's, I mean, I like his science fiction stuff. I mean, the stuff prior to that, I didn't watch that as much. But I like him, and another guy that I trust his judgment in taking a script and executing a script is Tom Cruise. I really like Tom Cruise's movies. It's like I haven't been disappointed in a Tom Cruise movie for a long time. He does a good job in picking scripts. I'm curious, what's the distance from you to your back wall? Let's find out. Let's find out. Right now. 4 feet. 48 inches. 48 inches. That's the distance. How often you use your Lumix X5 camera at the moment? So I use it for high-end things, but it's so big. I have it set it up out there. I got a great, listen, I initially bought 3 prime lenses for it because they're super fast and they're excellent. I got what's the first one? 24 millimeter, I think. Low 20s, 24, 25 millimeter, 50 millimeter, and 85 millimeter, and they're all primes, super fast. They're really, really good lenses. But what I found is when I go out places, I like to zoom better. I like to have an option to zoom, much bigger lenses. So I got this zoom, which is really good, 35 to 150, I think. 35 to 150. It's f2. It's steady aperture. The maximum aperture is 2.8, but it starts at 2.2 to 2.8. At the maximum is 2.8. So it's still a very, very fast lens, but it's big and it's bulky. So I have a tendency not to use that. I'm keeping which one am I keeping? Oh, I have a 50 millimeter. I have a 50 millimeter too, or a 60 mil. I have a 60 millimeter for outdoors in the sunlight. So I'm going to sell do I have a 35? I can't remember. 20 something, 24, 25. Do I have a 35? I don't remember. And I got a 60. And then I got the 85. So I got 4 lenses. They're all, well, the 60 is 30 to 60 or something. It's a small zoom. So I have that for outdoors in the bright sunlight. That's nice and compact. All the primes are small and compact. But the zoom that I got, 35 to 150, it's a beast. But I like it because I have the ability to zoom in or zoom out. And that's what I need. I can't just using one prime unless it's a stationary shot in a studio. It's not the way I work. I use all 4 lenses. I filmed the 4th of July parade today. I use all 4 lenses. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. I do it all the time. Being stuck with one lens is a pain for me. I know you can interchange them and switch them, but you miss a lot of stuff. So to answer your question, my Lumix S5 Mark IIX, I don't use it as much because I got that big lens on it. But it's a great camera. Anything serious, I will take it out. I'm doing a music video, instrumental. The instrumental at the beginning of the show, I'm doing a music video for that. And I'll be using the Lumix S5 Mark IIX as the main camera because it's 6K. It's 6K. It shoots in 6K. So that'll be my main camera. The quality is superb. But I'll also be using my iPhone 16 Pro Max, my iPhone 15 Pro Max, and my DJI Action 5. Phenomenal. All of them just give great, great images. Terminator talk all about AI before that was even in mind, most people. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it was about. AI made the Terminator, came from the future. Colossus, the Forbin project, and that's a classic of an AI computer taking over the world. Now, I'm a big fan of Twin Peaks. I loved Twin Peaks, David Lynch's Twin Peaks, and I loved Lost. I was a huge fan of the TV series Lost. So the character that plays Ben in Lost, that little mousy guy, he's in another series called Person of Interest, like 6 or 7 seasons. And I'm rewatching that for the second time, and I'm getting towards the end. In that series, he invented AI. That's one of the things. He invented AI in that series. That was back, I guess, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So in that series, the character that Ben plays from Lost plays, he invented AI. It's called Person of Interest. It's a really good series. So Michael Emerson, that's his name. I always forget. I forget the names. I remember when he was introduced in this Lost series, we didn't know what the heck was going on. We didn't know if he was good, if he was bad, if he was in between. He was really good in Lost, and then in this other series, Person of Interest, he's excellent. He's an excellent character. Had to look it up. Yeah, I watched the series now. I'm still finishing. I think I'm on season 5. I got to finish it up. I like Murderbot on Apple TV, though. I like the books even better. And yes, the Person of Interest is really interesting. He was also an evil. So Murderbot, I started watching on Apple TV because I have it for another week or so. But I don't like my superheroes to be goofy and comedic. And it seems like he's one of those guys that's kind of goofy, and he's doing a lot of comedy shtick with it being a superhero or a robot, AI robot. And that, I don't like that much. I like the superheroes to be more serious or make an occasional joke, but not constantly cutting up, making comments and stuff. Colossus USA Computer was also, I think, the Forbin project. It was put against the Guardian USSR computer, and both take over the world. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I like futuristic TV series and movies. I've seen a couple. I mean, there's a couple on Apple TV that I really, really enjoyed. A couple of them are still ongoing. On Apple TV, I really liked Shining Girls. That was one season. I thought that was excellent. Excellent TV. Apple has some of the best, consistently best, but they all do. Netflix does. Prime, I get Prime Video because we got Prime something package and it comes with it. HBO did the, what was the one HBO did? The cowboy series that turned into just pure science fiction with another blonde robot girl, the lead actress, Rachel something or other, Westworld, that's it. So I liked Westworld, yes, Westworld. I liked Westworld originally, but I liked it a lot better when they got away from the cowboy stuff. And they went more into future robot stuff. And they, once again, they have how many times do they have a pretty blonde robot AI creature? They've done it multiple times. Rachel something is her name. I forget what her name is. Now, is there a new version or another season of Westworld? I think there is. Yes, the original was with Yul Brynner. That's correct. Is there a movie where a computer takes over the world, but for the best? Not, well, I don't know. since we're talking about TV series, True Detective, excellent TV series. Now, the first season with Woody Harrelson and his half brother, whatever the hell that guy's name is, I forget what his name is, was excellent. Second season was pretty good too. It's a little bit graphic though. I mean, some of the murder scenes were pretty disturbing. The book I, Robot has a robot who becomes president. So you've got, we can't have a president for a robot because the president's got to be born in the United States. Now, I don't know, does that affect robots? I don't know. If they're made in the United States, is that the same as being born in the United States? That's why Schwarzenegger can never be can never be president because he wasn't born here. And Elon Musk as well couldn't be president because he was born in Africa or South Africa, whatever. You have to be born in this country to be president. So, I don't know. Could a robot be president? Don't know. Anyway, I don't mind wandering off the topic of Final Cut Pro at all. If we have nothing to talk about Final Cut Pro, from Final Cut Pro wise, then we'll talk about other things. It's completely up to you. No update till August or November. I think there's a possibility of a smaller update between now and November. I'm sure they'll do a big update, 11.2, 11.3, whatever, at the Creative Summit. But they jump around now with numbers. They could do 12. Who the heck knows? I think it's too early for 12. I made a joke about that at the last Creative Summit. So I think... You mean Final Cut Pro update? Yes. I think I'll be able to tell you about the Creative Summit hopefully in July. At least some information, limited information, hopefully in July. I think that's the case. It pretends to be human and Asimov's laws govern it. There you go. They also had Raised by Wolves on HBO and did cancel my subscription, though, before watching it to the end. I haven't had the time to watch all the streaming services available to us. So they're talking about, Hollywood movies and everything not doing that well. Some of these TV, I'll say it again, Apple TV does a phenomenal job with the quality of their work. And they do some great television. I'll give them top kudos for some of their stuff. Ted Landau and a bunch of them. I watch them all the time. Slow Horses, I love Slow Horses. HBO does some great stuff. True Detective was really good, but it's not for the faint of heart. If you have family members, some of the scenes are pretty graphic. Westworld was excellent. Let me think of what else. Netflix has great stuff. Prime Television has great stuff. There's tons. And it's not all made in America. I watch a lot of British television shows and a lot of Australian television shows as well. The Matrix gets human inside computer, if I remember. Yeah, The Matrix was excellent. The original Matrix was excellent. 2 or 3, I'm not so sure about. I liked it better. The original was superb. Keanu Reeves. Why does VLC Media place shows video more saturated compared to QuickTime? I don't know the answer to that. I've heard a lot of things about QuickTime and their color, how the Mac handles color. Hoping for the second part of captions, absolutely. But I'm not holding my breath. No, there's going to be, by November, there's going to be a big update to Final Cut Pro. It would not surprise me to have the second update to captions / text-based editing. By the second update to captions, we mean either transcribe audio to subtitles or transcribe them to captions and then take those captions and make them into subtitles. There's two plugins that are going to take care of that soon inside of Final Cut. One-time price, very reasonable. That's going to work with that. Intelligent Assistance, Caption Animator, and our friend Brett FX, who I've seen at the Creative Summit for the last 2 times. They have a plugin that does this and gets you some real nice options in doing subtitling in Final Cut Pro. So they ended Westworld 1 season too early. There's no further season of Westworld. That's disappointing. Final Cut Pro 11 should be a great update to put back hope for all of us after all who say Final Cut is out of the pro game. I think most of the people that know Final Cut are more frustrated by the slow pace of updates. It is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They update Final Cut Pro according to their schedule, and their schedule is very slow. Now, I've heard the excuse, oh, I want a stable Final Cut Pro. Of course you do. I want all software to be stable. It took them 13 and a half years to get a scrolling timeline. That seems way too long to do a feature like a scrolling timeline. But it's here now. We'll deal with it. I'm sticking with Final Cut Pro, even though I use DaVinci Resolve more and more. And I always use it for transcription. I'm not sure I'll be able to attend the next Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. The price is quite high, and who knows what your president will decide regarding tariffs on Canada. That'll be worked out. I don't worry about stuff like that. And of course, we don't discuss politics on this show under any circumstances. A light casual mention is fine. But I remember when the stock market was like this in March, and people were, oh my God, the stock market is crashing. Listen, I've been through so many of these. During COVID, the same thing happened. The stock market went down. Held on to my stocks. A few months later, they're higher. And right now, the stock market in the United States is the highest it's ever been across the board. So don't worry. If it goes down, just hold on. Don't look at the stock market. You'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll see what's happening. Very soon, Brett says. Brett, type in there what the name of your plugin is. I don't have Final Cut open right now. Let me see. Brett FX. And let me go look. Let me go look here. He does Brett FX and, well, you give me the title. And Intelligent Assistance, Caption Animator, excellent combination. Animated subtitles, okay. So Brett, our friend Brett Williams, his plugin is called Animated Subtitles. It'll be out soon. I've been beta testing it for him for months. It does really, really cool CapCut style animated subtitles. It's really cool. It's done a great job. And him and Intelligent Assistants, our friends Philip and Greg, with their Caption Animator plugin, does a great job. For SEO, search engine optimization. Looks like not much happening out there. There's our garden. Jane takes care of most of that. She has 4 gardens. One of them is very small. 5, she has some tomato plants in pots up on the driveway. But anyway. All right. Is there anything else going on? We'll be back next Saturday, if not before. I mean, if who the heck knows? Are they going to put out an update? Jan says he's going to see me next week. I have to go. I have to get over there and relax for the rest of the day. I was just down at the parade down there in good old Main Street USA. I filmed that and interviewed some people. I'll put that stuff together and make a video, and I'll put it out on July the 3rd, the day before July the 4th, on YouTube and Facebook. It'll get thousands of views. It does, always does. But anyway, why doesn't Apple have Final Cut Pro beta testing option? They do have a beta program, it's just not open. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that they charge. I mean, they used to charge $100. I think the original version of Mac OS was $100 or $125. So now Mac OS is free, Notes is free, GarageBand is free, iMovie is free, Safari is free. And they all have, a lot of them have open beta programs. I don't know. Daniel. Have a great day, Rich. Everybody in the Final Cut Pro community. Absolutely. We want to give you all, everybody who watches the show and the Final Cut Pro team, don't take a vacation. Give us an update with features, then you can take a vacation, Final Cut Pro team. I'm sure we're going to be seeing the Final Cut Pro team. I'm sure we're going to have a creative summit. There's been no details yet about it, though. So as soon as I can tell you about it, I will come tell you about it. Now, we'll see you back here next week. Will we? I hope so. Next Saturday. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Get my subscriber numbers up. They're going up a little bit at a time over there at youtube.com at Richard Taylor TV. I do stuff on every side's Final Cut Pro stuff. I do a lot of stuff. And of course, our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups, Final Cut TV Radio. So, I know, buddy, back in my day, Mac OS was box physical media. Absolutely. I remember when Mac OS first came out, I went to some store in Columbia, Maryland. They didn't have an Apple store then. Some store that had Apple, was Big Apple store kind of thing, and stood in line and waited for it. It was $100 or $129, I forget. And then they lowered the price, and then $29, and then they just started giving it away for free. A lot of work goes into the Mac OSs. Absolutely. I was box media. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, everybody. I'm going to get out of here for today. I will see everybody back here, if not before, next Saturday sometime between 10 and 1 o'clock typically. I want to give you all Final Cut Pro team as well. Don't take a vacation until you give us a Final Cut Pro update. No vacation until you give us a Final Cut Pro update. And I don't mean just the bug fix, although those are welcome. Give us a couple of features with the bug fix 11.1.2, hopefully over the summertime. And then hit us with the big one, 11.2, in November at the Creative Summit. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And if I don't see you before next Saturday, I'll see you next Saturday.